This Raw Vision video is brought to you by Metro Solar, proud partner of the Richmond Football Club. We've got the captain of the Richmond Football Club, Trent Cotchin's wandered in to join me and have a little bit of a chat before we announce the winner. It's an interesting count at the moment, Cotch. We've got Rancy on top. I think he's about 5 votes in front of Dusty. It's going to be pretty tight. It's going to go down to the wire.
Yeah, I think it will. I think there's 3 rounds to go.
Yeah.
I can't even remember how those 2 boys finished off the year, but it seems as though it's a 2-horse race at this stage. And then I think...
you're in 3rd spot on 43?
Yeah, I'll get tagged out of the match against Collingwood. Don't play against Essendon. And,
so you're not going to get your 4th?
Kangaroos, I was okay. I don't know. Votes in finals counted because I was putrid then too, Richo. So.
You've been a bit harsh on yourself, mate. But yeah, equal 4th, Brett Deledio, Jack Rewalt and Nick Floston on 41 votes. So it's going to be an interesting count. I just think Rancy may hold on. That's my tip. I don't know, but I think he finished the year off pretty strongly, especially in that final. He was outstanding.
Yeah, I certainly can't remember him having a bad game, and probably the same with Dusty. It is. I think 4 votes, given the new voting system, is probably just enough for Rancy to hold on now.
Yeah, they did have outstanding seasons, both of them. Give us a little bit of an insight into how you thought Rancy's year and Dusty's year went.
Yeah, I think Rancy, first and foremost, on the back of a terrific year last year, was one of the key reasons we got our season back on track last season, and again this year. I mean, consistency. I think he spoke about it earlier in the webcast. That he needs to become more consistent, but I don't think there's too many players that have been as consistent as him over the past 2 years. So I'm excited to see what even more consistency from Rancy brings. Yeah. And Dusty, again, he was the same. I mean, on the back of 2 really good seasons, had another outstanding year. Would be stiff to miss out on his first Jack Dyer if he didn't happen to get through tonight. But I think it's just the start of both of those guys' careers. I think they've got a lot more to offer and they're going to get better again.
I think Dusty particularly, I think he can get even better in that midfield and even going forward a little bit more. We know he's a really good goal kicker, and if he could kick even more goals, it makes him even more damaging, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think if you looked at his average numbers contested-wise as well, I see him in the same sort of category as a Fife and Dangerfield. Yeah. He's got the power. He's obviously got the talent, he's shown that, and can kick goals. So, you know, he brings even more of a contested game to what he already has, and he's unstoppable.
What about your own season, mate? You've won the Jack Dyer medal 3 times, so you know what it takes to put together an outstanding season. How did you look back over your year?
Yeah, look, to be honest, I think it was just one of those years where you look back and you go, you know, I contributed to the team across the year for majority of games, but there was no real flashes of brilliance, or I didn't feel as though, you know, it was a best and fairest year. Or from an individual point of view, you know, I contributed, as I said, but I feel I have a lot more to offer from, you know, just an impact point of view. And I'm excited to get away first and foremost and have a bit of R&R with my family, but then get back into it come pre-season for 2016.
What do you reckon when you go away on holidays? You probably don't want to think about footy too much, but when you come back to pre-season, what are some of the areas of focus for Trent Cotchin next year?
Yeah, I think being captain, there's so many different areas that you need to focus on. Obviously, I need to get better as just a player and a contributor in the team, but how can I improve as a leader and make, you know, the likes of Dusty and some of our younger players coming through better as well. So, you know, there's a lot to think about, but number one, you know, the number one thing that I saw or got out of this year was that we aren't that far away, but you need to be at your best all the time, otherwise opportunities go missing. And, you know, watching the game on the weekend only hurts. I mean, you can enjoy it as much as you would like, but the reality is I felt as though this year was as good opportunity as we've had. We let it slip with a poor performance, and my attitude is that I'm just going to be ruthless in making sure that we are on the right track to give ourselves every opportunity.
How do you go on grand final day? Some players can't even watch grand finals when they're not in them. How do you go? Do you sit down and watch it, or do you get really jealous? What's your take?
I did a lot of appearances in the morning leading up to it, and it was pretty hot.
Put a few little
bit of dollar. But I find it really hard. I mean, you see every time Luke Hodge touched the ball, I suppose the direct comparison being captains of the clubs, I was just envious of him. It's a hard pill to swallow, especially you know, seeing him celebrate the way he did after the game. You know, that's what we're thriving on. That's what we want to do as a team, as a club, and nothing's bigger and better than winning a flag, and that's what drives me ultimately.
Absolutely. You talk about Luke Hodge, and you know the leadership groups at any club need to perform well for the team to have success. But I think overall this year, if you look back on most of the games, I thought Richmond's leadership group stood up pretty well this year.
Yeah, I think we had to let it sink in, that loss. It obviously has to hurt, and I think that was the most the greatest positive out of a game that was very disappointing was that I could see that it meant more to the group than it ever has, and that's a real sign of maturity and knowing that it is an opportunity missed. But in saying that, I've lost where I was going with that one. But yeah, I just feel that we're ready to take that next step. But the challenge is that for 4 quarters, we need every one of the players that are playing on the day performing, and we didn't.
Mate, the club was 2-4, and the doubters were coming out, as they do. That's the game we play. It's a harsh game, but the group recovered really well, and you know, for I think that next 16, 17 weeks, you were right up there on the form ladder in the top 2 or 3 in the comp.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you don't want to reflect too much on the past, but last year, backs were against the wall. As a club, we stood really firm and came out the other side. Again, let an opportunity slip, but probably wasn't quite as deserving as this year. And it was just nice that we won in many different ways this season, and that was the most fulfilling thing as a leader, to see the group grow as they did, as individuals, as a team, and we know what's required, and that's, we have a simple formula that we know that works for us. It's just about ticking off that week in, week out. Some
terrific wins over the year. You go over to Perth and kick, I think it was 8 goals in that first quarter. You go up to Sydney and beat the Swans. That doesn't happen very often at the SCG. You beat Hawthorn, and I think that was the week that the bookies paid out on them to win the premiership, and then you come out and beat them. There was some real highlights this year. Which one of those games really felt the best when you walked off the ground?
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, it's always nice beating Hawthorn in front of a home crowd at the G.
Beat them every year, though.
And given, yeah, exactly right. I think the greatest one for us was Sydney. We were down. Yeah. We hadn't played very good footy in the first half. We were away at the SCG. I don't think we'd beaten them there for a long time. And to come out and play the way we did in that second half just gave us a lot of confidence that, if we all chip in that little bit and get all the cogs working in the whole machine, we can achieve what we want to. But the challenge is to make sure that that's working as we like it to.
Had a chat to Lids and Benny Gale about Chris Newman a bit earlier on the webcast. He spoke really well up there before. Give us your insight on him, taking over the captaincy and just the influence he had on you and the footy club in your time. Yeah,
I love seeing the vision of the fans and them paying their respects for him because, not only is Newey a great leader of this football club and has changed a lot of the culture and made massive inroads to us on the path to success, but he's a great mate of all of the players, and it doesn't matter whether you're in your first year at the football club or you've been there with him since day dot, which there isn't too many because he's so old, but he's just one of those guys that you can absolutely rely on to perform on game day, but more importantly, in the change rooms, if anything is worrying you, he'll be there for you. And I just love the fact that he's got a young family now, and that sort of encapsulates him as a person. I think he's a family man. He always wants to do right by everyone, and the impact he's had on so many different people's careers has been amazing, and none more than myself.
He put himself down, said he wasn't a very good-looking 18-year-old, and even as a 33-year-old, he said he's not very good-looking. But you know that he actually does rate himself.
Yeah, he prides himself. Doesn't he? Looks, singing, thinks he can handle his grog pretty well. His kit, he rates his dress-ups. So, yeah, he's definitely not the guy that he was on the stage there, is he? No.
Mate, how's the family? How's Brooke and young Harper going? You're heading off to Bali for a little bit R&R?
Yeah, Bali for 4 weeks this weekend, so
I'm
dying
great
for it. Yeah, I'm a bit worn out this year. I don't know why. I think just plenty going on, the disappointment of the elimination loss, and seeing those bloody Hawks win probably took its toll.
And the boys are heading up to Cairns, a few of the guys?
Yeah, a few of the guys are getting together. That should be one hell of a time, I reckon. Newey's little last send-off. So.
Did I hear there may be a cameo from one Jake King, maybe?
Surely not.
I hope not.
Oh, well.
Because that can only end in tears.
It certainly can. I think he was pretty good value last year, though.
Yeah, he was. Mate, before we let you go, let you get back in, who's your tip from here? We've only got 3 rounds left, plus the final.
I think Rancy will win. I'd love to see Dusty on the back of 3 really consistent years.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he will too.